4% rule, how does it work? This is a question a lot of people ask if they're looking to get into Melbourne High, Macrob, Nossal, or Suzanne Cory. Now, what this rule actually means is that a maximum of 4% of students from each school can gain entry into a selective high school. And if you think about it, it makes sense. They don't want 20, 30, 40 students all from the one school getting into selective high schools. And so what that means for your school is that if there's 100 students in your school, a maximum of 4% of them, so 4 of them, could get into each of the selective schools. So 4 could get into Melbourne High, 4 could get into Macrob, 4 could get into Nossal, and 4 could get into Suzanne Cory. It doesn't matter how many students are actually applying for these schools. It doesn't matter if 10 students are applying, 50 are applying, or 100 are applying. It just matters how many students are in your year overall. There's 100 students in your year. Only 4% of them can get into each school. And so if you're worried about how the 4% rule will impact your chances of getting into one of the selective high schools, what I've generally seen is for most schools, it doesn't really have much of an impact, but there is some schools where it does have an impact. And so generally, if you can aim across the 5 sections of the exam to have 3 sections where you're in the top 10% of students, 2 sections where you're in the top 20%, that's going to give you a pretty good chance. If you're at a really competitive high school, then you might want to bump that up a little bit. So you aim for 4 sections where you're in the top 10% and 1 where you're in the top 20%. Otherwise, overall, the 4% rule is not something to worry too much about. The main thing is focus on preparing for the exam. If you're prepared and you do well, the 4% rule is not going to impact you.